During the summer, we spent a week in Mataro, which is just outside of Barcelona. We stayed at the URH Ciutat de Mataro Hotel, which is a short 5-minute walk from the seafront. We found Mataro to be a great location to explore the local area, taking around 45 minutes on the train to get to Barcelona. Although we did need a bit of help buying tickets from a very polite young man that worked in the Mataro station, mainly because we didn't realise you could change the language on the ticket machines. It's quite obvious once it was pointed out. Across from the station is a cafe called Granier. We nipped in there a few times for a bite to eat and really enjoyed it. Being from the Sheffield area in England, we felt quite at home in Mataro, which has a bit of an industrial feel to it. I would love to know what the various chimneys were for, whether they're still in use or a relic from a previous time. If anyone knows, please leave the answer in the comments. We also found that a lot of middle-aged and older people didn't speak English very well, which gave us the impression that it wasn't a hotspot for tourism. A lot of the younger people we encountered did though, and seemed quite excited to be able to practice their language skills, which help us with our Spanish too, as doing simple things like ordering food could be a bit of a challenge. However, despite this, we were always greeted with smiles and positive attitudes from locals. Mataro has several beaches which have a little bit of something for everyone. We found a small quiet patch of sand at the far end, which seemed quite popular with older residents. There was also an area for those with dogs. Between this and the port there was an area which, due to its location, had weaker currents. This would be ideal for those with younger children. Then there were also more popular and busier beaches close to the bars and restaurants on the other side of the port. The outdoor play equipment was very popular with those wanting to work out and flex their muscles. All the beaches had running water taps and a shower on one of them, which was great for getting rid of sand between your toes. However, I didn't manage to get a picture of the shower in the day, as you can see. The port itself was a lovely area, worth a walk around, with local bars and restaurants and a fantastic ice cream shop called Crocante, where my wife struggled to pick a flavour each time we visited. I quite like the gingerbread flavour, although all the flavours we tried were nice. The town centre is worth a visit, especially on an evening where people socialise and eat and drink, which gives you a feel for a real authentic Spanish town. It'd be worth mentioning that the pharmacist in the pharmacy spoke really good English too and was super helpful. I found the little windows with what looked like religious figures in them really interesting. Please leave a comment if you can tell us more about them. Not far from the town centre is a local park, which was being set up for a music event while we were there. The park has large public toilets, which was a nice surprise, as the last place we'd visited was Amsterdam, which was a bit of a chore to find a toilet, especially a free one. If you're after a bit of retail therapy, local shops are well stocked with a good selection of items. There is also a shopping centre where you can find popular brand name shops and fast food restaurants. It's called Mataro Park. The walk from the town centre is up quite a steep hill, so make sure you've got on comfortable shoes if you're planning to visit on foot. However, if you do make it up there, you'll get a really good view of the Mataro area. There's also a Gaudi museum in Mataro, which we didn't get a chance to visit, although we did walk past. Definitely a place to visit if you're into his design style and architecture. The Casa Colli Rijas is somewhere worth checking out, with its intricate architecture which blew my mind. Being the sort of people that like to walk and explore, we decided to walk to Castel de Burriac on the hottest day we were away. This was my idea because from Mataro, the area surrounding Castel de Burriac looked to be shaded by trees. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and the dirt tracks leading to it caused the heat to bounce off the floor, and as a result it seemed so much hotter than it was, when it was already hot enough. Something I wasn't expecting was the volume of noise created by the local crickets, which you can hear in the footage. I could still hear them several hours later ringing in my ears when we had returned to the hotel. The journey was 15k there and back, a distance that wouldn't even bother us back home in the UK. However, in 31 degree heat, by the end of it we were exhausted. I'm not sure whether my wife has forgiven me yet for putting her through the ordeal. From the castle itself, there are some quite breathtaking views of the local area and environment, as you can see. If you're staying in Mataro, a trip to Barcelona is essential. I'd recommend a trip to the National Palace, which features fantastic views of the city. Just take a right turn when leaving the train station. Don't be daft and walk around the rear of it like we did, only to find escalators at the front. We didn't enjoy Las Ramblas as much. It was very busy and it's notorious for pickpockets. Although I did enjoy the Barcelona FC store nearby, as I managed to pick up a polo shirt for €25, as you can see here. Although we did love the Gothic Quarter, which was fantastic architecturally and had fantastic independent shops selling unique items. If you have a sweet tooth, you should definitely check out Baldu, where they sell donuts in the shape of little people, in some ways similar to gingerbread men. But honestly, it was a bit much, as I struggled to finish mine. During the second trip to Barcelona, we tried to visit Park Güell, as some of the videos we'd watched prior to visiting had said you can go around the gardens for free without tickets. This wasn't the case, and the walk up to it could be a bit of a challenge for some. So make sure you get some tickets if this is somewhere you really want to visit. To be honest, we weren't too disappointed, as we're not massive fans of Gaudi's work. Apologies to those who are, and the people of Barcelona. The Sagrada de Familia was one of the highlights of our trip. As we followed Google Maps, we were beginning to think that we'd made a mistake, as we couldn't see anything, despite it saying we were only minutes away. Then all of a sudden, it just seemed to appear from nowhere, and what a sight it was. Designed by Gaudi and started in 1882, it is classed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. With a capacity of 9,000 people, it has 18 spires and a height of over 170 metres. It was hard to take our eyes off it as we walked around. However, it was very busy in the surrounding area, so be prepared. While on holiday, we also called in at Blanes, which has a picturesque bay popular with photographers. I'd have been tempted to visit the castle on the hill for a good vantage point for a couple of photos, if my feet weren't so sore from all the exploring we've been doing. We grabbed a pizza slice for €2 from El Sabor, which was really tasty. If we'd have had more time, I think a trip to Santa Susana and Tossa de Mar would have been on our to-do list. In terms of the hotel, it was a little rough around the edges in places, although we slept well and the shower had plenty of power to get rid of sand after a day at the beach. We didn't really try out the facilities, such as the gym or pool, although we did try their breakfast and really enjoyed it. A great way to start the day. Just don't forget to turn the aircon off before you go to sleep at night, or you may end up with a sore throat like I did. Overall, we had an awesome week in Mataro. I loved the Catalonian architecture, culture and warmth of the people we met. The only slightly negative thing I would say about our visit was the amount of graffiti we saw in the area. Some of it was really good. However, it's a shame that some of the indiscriminate tagging blighted the area. I quite like this one, and I thought it was quite funny. Although I do sympathise with the locals, we must be a bit annoying. The other issue, which is well documented, is pickpocketing and low-level crime. However, I think this is something you need to be aware of wherever you go, especially in large cities. Also, when you land at the airport and you've made your way through checking in, follow the large footbridge to the train station. It took us a while to figure that out, and even then we needed some guidance from a really helpful Argentinian student to figure out the train lines and what train we needed to catch. Mataro is a great place to visit, as is the wider Catalonian region. We definitely recommend visiting. Thanks for watching, and please feel free to like, share, subscribe and watch my other videos.